So I'm Doug Liddle. I'm the CEO of In Space Missions. Much like my friend and colleague Meryl, I'm going to be doing a bit of an entrepreneur's journey to explain how I got from where I started to here, and give my perspective on what's worked for me. Now, I mean, it's obvious that everyone's done this differently. In fact, the only thing that you find in common amongst entrepreneurs and people that have created small businesses is that they've all done it in a different way, and they've all come from a different path through a different route. And it was just always useful just to see if there's anything that I did that might resonate with what you're doing or you might find useful. So my journey was very much, I did physics at Oxford, and I've kind of put down here a number of different bullets showing for each thing I did, there was something technically that was useful, but there was also a bunch of non-technical stuff that happened along the way that I think helped shape what I became. And when I came to put together In Space Missions, which is the last thing I did, I think all of those previous experiences and skills informed that activity and where I managed to get to In Space Missions. So initially, I say I'm physics, maths, and how to think, and the course I did at Oxford was great for that. It didn't tend to be rote learning. There was a lot of it where you were taught to figure stuff out from first principles. But non-technical for me was the confidence in a room. And a couple of things there. I'd come to Oxford from a state university, and I'd accidentally managed to choose the most public school college in Oxford pretty much. So I was in this very strange position of being a state school boy at a college full of people that had a very different background to me, but learning that actually there was more that we had in common than differentiated us was really useful, and it helped give me quite a lot of confidence. That, and I also used to perform. I used to play in a band, and that actually also really helps. So confidence in a room, it doesn't sound like important, but actually it's one of the things that's helped me through the rest of my career. After university, I just a range of part-time jobs while figuring out what I wanted to do, including painting and decorating, telesales, which was horrible, and I was a tour guide on an open-top bus, which I absolutely adored doing. Fantastic fun. Yet again, standing up in front of a bunch of poor tourists on a rainy April day in Stratford-upon-Avon, trying to shout over the wind and having a whale of a time doing it. Then I went to DRA Dara Farnborough, which then became Kinetic and DSTL. And I was in the space department there. Fantastic place to learn your trade. And I believe, hearing Avi earlier, DSTL is come back to being very much like that again now. In fact, we work with them quite a lot through my new role In Space Missions, and it's fantastic seeing the enthusiasm and it being a real cradle of learning and R&D. So when I was there, I did synthetic aperture radar, attitude and orbit control, operations, mission design, orbit analysis, formation flying. I got to learn how to do a bunch of stuff there and ComSat design, but also on a non-technical level, I learned how to be a customer. We were in charge of supporting MOD and buying the Skynet 4 satellites. I ran a team. I had to start giving presentations to very important customers. And that was, yet again, that thing of being able to stand up and get your ideas across in front of a room full of people was hugely important for me. Next to Surrey satellites, as Meryl mentioned, a lot of us have mentioned Surrey satellites today. There I did system engineering and mission design, designed lots of missions, and I got my hands dirty with a lot of lower level stuff. So working, really detailed level with people developing RF payloads, imagers, avionics, all the other bits and pieces. But the non-technical really outweighed the technical education. So I started doing a lot more business development, going in front of customers, sales, understanding what customers wanted, marketing, how to communicate with customers, project delivery, writing bids. I got involved with launch procurement and the regulatory and insurance side, did contract negotiations. I started representing Surrey satellites in front of ESA and the UKSA. So I started to learn really how agencies worked, did more team leadership, had a number of different teams and groups reporting to me, learned how to do recruitment, HR, buying equipment, And through that whole period, I developed a trusted network across not only the people inside Surrey, but across the space community. And the one thing that's really interesting about the space sector is we are a community. Most people seem to know each other. And if you go to a space conference, you'll just see a bunch of people standing around having coffee, catching up. And we had a SpaceCom in Farnborough a couple of months ago, and that was fantastic. There were people we hadn't seen since before the pandemic, and it's lovely to actually catch up with a bunch of old friends and people. We've all been in different companies, we've all worked for each other in different roles, and re-engaging and reigniting all of those friendships has been really lovely in the last few months. And then 2015, I decided it was time to leap. Felt that I could do something different myself. After a while, you start to feel the constraints of working for somebody else and you want to do your own thing. So I put together In Space Missions, and I built a company, and we're now 40 people. And we recently, having said I wanted to not have to work for anybody, I grew and sold the company to BAE Systems. So fantastic. The only other thing I'd say there is the interaction with HMRC. You don't learn that when you work for somebody else. You have to have your own company to understand the joys of VAT returns and PAYE. So lessons from the journey for me. Find a good co-founder, same as Meryl. I completely agree. Someone to bounce ideas off, to share the pain. And if you can, and it makes sense, split the company evenly. You should all have equal stakes in making it work. Access the R&D grant system. There's financial and technical support to help you grow your company. Even just getting the application process together and just filling in the forms helps you make sure your ideas are in order. In the company, create an entrepreneurial environment. Create a free flow of ideas, get everybody bringing their thoughts to the table. Downside is employee churn. I was mentioning this to a friend earlier that we've had, in the last 6 months, maybe we've had 4 people leave and 3 of them have gone off to set up their own companies. And I'd like to think it's because they're inspired, not that they don't like working for me. Learn how to manage the books. Good businesses, great businesses fail because they run out of cash. Hang on to control as much as you can. Delivering the vision needs control. You've got to avoid too much dilution. Don't let yourself become a minority shareholder in your own company. The minority shareholders who are the investors can be great, but they shouldn't be driving the company. No job is beneath or beyond you. So the beyond you, be prepared to learn, try new things, take a leap, but also be prepared to empty the bins, because all of these jobs are your jobs. And then finally, it's never too late. So the average age of a founder for high growth startup is actually 45. The unicorns, it's 34. Now, obviously, I'm mainly talking to people who are under 30 here. My point there is really be prepared to try and fail and try again. As the older you get, as you pick up the experiences, if you've got the determination, you will get there. And one of my colleagues, Dr. Susan Jason's talking tomorrow, if you'd like to pop into that, and she'll tell you all about how you can hopefully apply for internships and jobs within Space Missions. Thank you very much for your time.